Our Parsha opens up speaking about God calling out to Moshe, Vayikra. And in that word Vayikra, there is a small letter aleph. This is a unique occurrence in the Torah. Only in 9 places do we have a smaller letter. And when this happens, we try to understand what the deeper meaning is. One explanation that I found very impactful and also helpful in our modern world is this idea that God's calling out, God's helping us. Sometimes Hashem does it in a loud way and sometimes in a quiet way. In our Parsha, Hashem's calling out to Moshe with a small aleph. The aleph symbolizes Hashem, alufo shel olam, the number one being in the universe. And this idea that Hashem's helping us in quiet ways in our lives, even when we don't know it, is highlighted in a story by the Maggid of Dubno. He shares about a poor person who's walking along the way, famished, tired, homeless, with their sole possessions, all they own, on their shoulder. They're about to give up hope. They feel lost. They feel lonely. When all of a sudden, in the distance, they see a small speck getting bigger and bigger as it comes closer. They realize it's a wagon. The wagon's being driven along by a nobleman. And as the nobleman comes closer to the poor person, he sees him struggling. He says, "Hey, why don't you hop on my wagon? Take a load off," literally or figuratively, "and I'll help you get to where you need to go. I'll take you to the next town." The poor person was elated, ecstatic over this idea that he could take a break and get to where he needed to go. He hopped on the wagon, excitedly, sat down, started to relax, and the wagon took off. A little bit into the ride, the nobleman looked back and he saw that the poor person wasn't fully relaxed. He was still holding all of his possessions on his shoulder. The nobleman said, "Hey, why don't you put that down? Make it easy on yourself. Take a rest." And the poor person says, "Oh, no, you've already done so much for me. I wouldn't want to put my load down onto your wagon, cause any more burden to your cattle who's leading the wagon." Now, obviously, this is a false way of thinking, and the nobleman was surprised by that response. He continued on nevertheless, and the poor person arrived at where they needed to arrive. This story highlights this idea that sometimes we can be helped, but we don't even know it. And we think that we need to carry all the burden on our own. Similarly, Hashem is calling out to us through our lives. Hashem's helping us, sometimes in hidden ways, but Hashem's there. And we think that we need to do it all alone. But that's not the case. We can let go of some of our burden, allow Hashem to drive the wagon. This is an important lesson for our lives, and it's important that it appears at the beginning of this Parsha as Am Yisrael starts to be involved in the Mishkan. They're going to need a lot of divine help in all their service. They could mistakenly think that they're alone doing the work. Therefore, Hashem opens up our Parsha with Vayikra, with a small aleph, to remind Moshe and Am Yisrael in that time, and us in our time, that Hashem is with us in quiet ways, and Hashem is helping us. We just need to make space for that, let go of some of the load, and let Hashem carry it for us. Good Shabbos.